Hello, and welcome to Cellular Wisdom, where we dissect health myths with a scalpel and a smile. I'm Ethan Foster, your mildly amused observer of the human condition.
And I'm Alara Sky, the brainy comedian who thinks every cell in your body deserves a standing ovation. Are you ready for another dive into the wonderful world of metabolic health, Ethan?
Dive in? More like wade carefully while wearing floaties. But yes, I'm prepared. After all, if we don't keep our engines finely tuned, we'll end up stalling in the middle of the highway, right?
That's right, Mr. Deadpan. And if we stall in the middle of the highway, no quick-fix miracle diet will be able to tow us out of that traffic jam. Today's episode is titled Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll be chatting about why your body is like a high-performance engine and why that new year, new you mindset might need a better plan than just picking the flashiest diet du jour.
Ilara, I've heard about so many people who do these intense weight loss programs in January, only to rebound by March. It's like diet whiplash. Any idea why that keeps happening? I mean, other than the fact that nobody can live on kale and broccoli milkshakes forever?
Oh, kale and broccoli milkshakes. That's a traumatic mental image. But yes, exactly. So many of us fall into the quick fix trap. If you only focus on short-term, rapid weight loss, instead of addressing foundational metabolic health, you'll end up frustrated, hungry, and probably in the back seat of your local fast food drive-thru at midnight.
Guilty as charged. Though I have to say, the fries do call my name sometimes, but apparently that's just a Band-Aid on a leaky pipe.
Yes, that's a perfect analogy. Quick fix diets are the Band-Aid on a leaky pipe scenario. It looks like we're making progress for a moment, but we're ignoring the bigger issue of metabolic health. Real, lasting results come from focusing on your engine, your metabolism, and making sure it's in tip-top shape before even thinking about fat loss.
I assume that means, before we cut calories to unbelievably low levels, we should check if the body can handle that calorie deficit. Sort of like making sure the car has enough gas before we start a cross-country road trip?
Bingo. If you're barely feeding your body enough to function, it's going to retaliate by stalling out. Let's call it metabolic sabotage, courtesy of chronic undereating. But there's a more positive spin. If you spend time boosting your metabolism first, you can actually eat more while maintaining your weight. Then, once you decide to lose fat, you can cut calories in a healthy way that doesn't throw your body into chaos.
I hear the term maintenance phase thrown around. It always sounds like we're talking about a corporate server update. But in this context, it's about staying at a certain calorie level for a while, right?
Right. The maintenance phase is the strategic break from dieting. During this time, you work on strengthening your metabolism. It might involve increasing your caloric intake, slowly, and also improving your daily habits like sleep, stress management, and movement. It's all about giving the body a break from constant restriction so it can repair, rebuild, and get comfortable at a higher calorie level.
You said something about it preventing rebound weight gain?
Yes, because when you've allowed your metabolism to rev up, your body no longer clings to every calorie like you're in the apocalypse. It learns that there's enough energy coming in regularly. Then, when you shift to a gentle calorie deficit, your body is far less likely to go into survival mode.
That makes sense. In the article, there's a mention of someone named Anna. She was maintaining her weight at only around 600 calories daily, but she wanted to lose more weight.
Right? And in that state, Anna would have had to slash down to something like 200 calories a day to lose fat. That's basically a child's calorie intake. Imagine living life feeling deprived, low energy, and snapping at unsuspecting baristas. Not ideal.
We don't want to become coffee shop werewolves, so how do we fix that?
Anna decided to focus on boosting her metabolism first. She devoted a few months, maybe 3 to 6, to daily habit improvements, structured exercise, and a slow, steady increase in calories. Over that period, she worked her way up to maintaining her weight at 2,300 calories a day. Suddenly, if she wants to lose weight, she can start cutting from 2,300 down to maybe 1,900 instead of 1,200. Much less painful, and she's still fueling her body well.
I like the idea of fueling the body well. I've heard the term reverse dieting for this process of gradually adding calories. Sounds fancy, but apparently it's just systematically upping your intake so your body has time to adapt.
Yes, reverse dieting is about sneaking more calories into your daily diet slowly. You're training your metabolism to handle more. Instead of waking up your body one day and dumping 1,000 extra calories on it, you add maybe 10 to 30 extra calories a week, focusing on nutrient-dense foods.
That's not a lot, 10 to 30 a week. So you might have a few extra almonds or an extra spoon of yogurt each day.
Exactly. It's not very glamorous, but it's effective. If you jump from 1,600 to 2,000 calories overnight, your body might store some of that as fat because it doesn't yet trust that the supply will be consistent. But if you do it slowly, your body adjusts upward, and your total daily energy expenditure increases. That's how you get to a higher maintenance phase.
Now, the article also talks about how metabolism is governed by multiple things. It's not just about diet. There's NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and that can vary by up to 2,000 calories between individuals of the same size.
Isn't that mind-blowing? NEAT basically covers all the movements we do outside of exercise. Fidgeting, walking around the house, tapping your foot. Some people are just naturally more active throughout the day, so they burn more calories without even planning to. Meanwhile, others can do the same workout, eat the same food, but if they're a couch potato the rest of the day, their overall burn is much lower.
It's a relief to know I can burn extra calories just by pacing while I talk on the phone. But let's not forget the big chunk of our daily energy usage, the basal metabolic rate, or BMR. That's up to 70% of total daily expenditure, right?
Correct. Your BMR is what keeps your heart pumping, your lungs breathing, your hair growing, and your nails from looking like you just crawled out of a cave. Improving your BMR means you'll burn more calories at rest. That's why building lean muscle is so important. Muscle is metabolically active tissue.
So that's where strength training comes in. It might not burn a huge number of calories during the actual workout, but it increases your muscle mass, which in turn raises your BMR. Then you just keep burning a few extra calories every hour, day and night.
Exactly. That's how you turn your body into a more efficient machine. Throw in some daily movement, like those extra steps to get your NEAT up, and you're covering multiple bases. You're not just burning calories during a workout, you're elevating your metabolic floor.
That sets the stage for the future, right? When you do choose to diet, you have a higher threshold. Let's talk about the nuance of calories in versus calories out. The article mentions Dr. Fatima Cody Stanford, who says the old just eat less, move more is an oversimplification.
Yes, because your metabolic rate isn't constant. Hormones, gut health, the types of foods you eat, they all affect how your body processes and expends energy. Two people could eat the exact same number of calories with totally different outcomes. That doesn't negate the fact that energy balance still matters. It's just that the equation has a lot of moving parts.
The takeaway is that while you need a caloric deficit to lose weight, you can't forget about metabolic efficiency. If you have a sluggish metabolism, even a moderate deficit might lead to a lot of misery. So, ironically, the solution is sometimes to eat more, but in a planned way.
Yes. We have to meet our metabolism where it's at, then coax it along. And to do that, we often have to fix some foundational habits, like cooking our own food instead of relying on processed stuff loaded with weird oils and preservatives.
Right, because cooking at home gives us better control, and it's cheaper. When I find out how much I pay for a fancy coffee, I do wonder why I'm not a gourmet chef by now.
Hey, a gourmet chef you do not need to be, but at least you know exactly what goes into your meal. Restaurants have that sneaky habit of mixing high carb with high fat, plus mystery oils. By cooking at home, you get to choose nutrient-dense foods that optimize energy production.
Which is fancy talk for real food your mitochondria will thank you for. So, if I want to become a champion of metabolism, does it boil down to 5 steps? I'm scanning my mental notes from the article. Step 1 was ditching the quick fixes.
Yes. Step 1. Break free from the quick fix trap. Quick fix diets can mess with your metabolism and your head. You might shed water weight or even muscle, but not necessarily the sustainable fat you want to lose. These fad diets also slow down your body's calorie-burning abilities. Not recommended.
Check. So, Step 2 is to know your numbers. Track your intake and weight so you get a baseline.
Exactly. You can't manage what you don't measure. Log your meals with an app, weigh yourself regularly, and observe. You'll see that your memory of what you eat may be playing tricks on you. Having real data helps you plan effectively for the next stages.
Step 3 was the cooking piece. Become the chef of your metabolic success, right?
Right? Because controlling your ingredients means you're fueling your body with quality. You avoid sneaky preservatives, refined vegetable oils, fillers, and all that jazz. It's like giving your metabolism premium gasoline instead of questionable fuel from a rusty can.
I appreciate that image. Step 4. Develop a well-rounded exercise routine. Strength training 2 or 3 times a week, plus aiming for 8,000 to 12,000 steps a day.
Yes. Humans were not designed to sit at a desk and then move only during a 30-minute workout. We do better with regular movement throughout the day. Getting more steps in helps keep your metabolism revved up, while strength training preserves and builds muscle, which in turn increases your basal metabolic rate.
And step 5. Gradually increase your daily calorie intake. That's the slow reverse diet you mentioned, so you train your metabolism to burn more without storing it all as fat.
Precisely. You add maybe 10 to 30 calories a week, weigh in to make sure the scale isn't continuously going up, and keep an eye on how you feel. After a few months, you could be up by hundreds of calories a day from where you started, which is a huge difference.
And if you reach a point where your weight does start inching upward, you dial back just a bit to stay in that sweet spot. Then, whenever you're ready for a weight loss phase, you have a higher number to cut from. It's like having a bigger budget before you go on a spending freeze.
Exactly. It's a slow and steady approach, but it pays off long term. Once you do move into a fat loss phase, you won't feel like you're starving. You'll have energy, your hormones won't be in crisis mode, and you won't keep drifting back to the midnight French fry line.
And the article's summary says that after focusing on a maintenance phase, people often find that the mental fatigue of constant dieting lifts. They might even lose some weight naturally because their calories out, thanks to a better metabolism, rises.
It's a magical thing, right? When you're not stressed out by extreme dieting, your body seems to cooperate more, and there's less chance you'll blow everything with a massive rebound. A maintenance phase can be a total reset for your metabolism and your relationship with food.
Speaking of relationships with food, the article mentions that chronic dieting can damage hunger cues. After years of extremes, we can't tell if we're actually hungry or just bored. That's something I relate to whenever I stare at the fridge after 11 p.m.
Precisely. A well-planned maintenance phase, complete with an emphasis on nutrient-dense meals, helps you rediscover true hunger and fullness signals. You learn to trust your body again.
Which is basically freedom from the tyranny of the scale. I like that idea. Then, in the final part of the article, Dr. Mercola mentions a course called Rooted in Resilience, created by Ashley and Sarah. It's apparently a deep dive into Dr. Ray Peat's bioenergetic medicine approach.
Yes, and Dr. Mercola calls it groundbreaking. He's even using it to train health coaches for new Mercola health clinics. The course covers reverse dieting, selecting the right foods to heal metabolism, balancing hormones, healing your gut, working on mindset, and crushing fitness goals. It's like a masterclass in metabolism and holistic health.
That's big praise, especially if it's everything Dr. Mercola wishes he had after medical school. Sounds like a real treasure trove. So, the gist is, if you struggle with health issues or constant dieting, a big part of the fix is focusing on cellular energy production and a strong metabolic foundation.
That's the essence. If your cells don't have enough energy, everything else falls apart. Your hormones, your mood, your sleep, your waistline. Focus on optimizing your metabolism, and you'll see improvements across the board.
All that talk about cellular energy reminds me of those old biology lessons about the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell. Now, if only I could have turned that phrase into a comedy routine back in high school.
Oh, I bet you could, Ethan. Something about the mitochondria demanding better break room snacks and more comfortable chairs. But jokes aside, It's amazing how many people spend years trying to out-diet a sluggish metabolism, when the real solution is to fix the metabolic system so it can burn energy properly.
And that's the point Dr. Mercola's making, right? With the right nutrition and lifestyle approach, you can heal your metabolism, balance your hormones, and even reduce anxiety or sleep disturbances. And you're doing it all at the cellular level, not with a fancy temporary diet.
Yes, it's a systems approach, which means it's sustainable. It's not some random 30-day cleanse that leaves you feeling deprived. It's a long-term way of living that your body can thrive on.
And that's probably why Dr. Mercola is so enthusiastic about it. After all, building new clinics is a serious undertaking. He must feel that this approach is the real deal if he wants his coaches to use it in practice.
Absolutely. And the article mentions how you learn to reverse diet without gaining weight, improve your glucose utilization with smart food choices, balance your hormones, heal your gut for immune function, refine your mindset, and meet your fitness goals. It's a holistic approach, covering multiple angles.
So it's basically the anti-quick fix, a course that says, look, you didn't damage your metabolism in a day, so you're not going to fix it in a day either. But if you follow these steps, you'll get there with less frustration and fewer setbacks.
Exactly. And it's not just for weight loss. A healthy metabolism helps you think more clearly, sleep better, and have more energy for the rest of your life. You know, the stuff that actually matters.
I like the analogy from earlier about tuning up your car before a big road trip. If your car's on its last spark plug, you don't just strap some spiffy new wheels on it and hope for the best. You fix the engine first?
Yes, or else you'll be calling the tow truck halfway through. So, Ethan, want to do a quick recap for anyone just joining us in the middle of the show, which they shouldn't be doing, but hey, real life happens?
Sure. Recap. We started with the idea that quick fix diets usually fail because they don't address root causes like a slow metabolism. Instead, it's better to prime your metabolism before jumping into a fat loss phase. That means a maintenance phase, carefully boosting your metabolism so you can eat more without gaining weight, build muscle, increase daily movement, and, only after that, start a gradual calorie deficit for weight loss.
Step by step. And the 5 steps to boosting your metabolism included rejecting quick fixes, getting a baseline by measuring food intake and weight, cooking your own meals to control quality, adopting a well-rounded exercise routine, and slowly increasing calories through reverse dieting so your body adapts gracefully.
Yes, all of which helps you avoid the heartbreak of yo-yo dieting. Once your metabolism is humming along, you have a better chance at sustainable weight loss, better energy, and improved overall health. Then, if you want to continue your transformation, courses like Rooted in Resilience break down the specifics and help you implement them.
I love that. It's like having a roadmap instead of just wandering around the desert with a poorly marked treasure map that says X marks the salad bar. With the right guidance, you can actually make real progress.
And hopefully not resent every leaf of lettuce you see along the way. So, any parting shots for our listeners before we wrap this up? Perhaps a witty commentary on the joys of learning to cook with real foods and not just microwaving frozen dinners.
Well, I'd say there's real joy in discovering that healthy meals can actually taste good and give you energy. Sometimes people worry that cooking at home is too time-consuming, but if you compare it to...
Hold on. Did we just get cut off? You were right in the middle of explaining the joy of cooking, and I was hanging on to every word.
Yes, I was about to say, cooking at home doesn't have to be an elaborate performance. It can be a simple, satisfying act of fueling your body with nutrient-dense foods that don't come with a list of unpronounceable ingredients. And ironically, you end up with more consistent energy by expending a little energy in the kitchen. How's that for a paradox?
It's definitely a paradox I can live with. I'd rather chop vegetables for 10 minutes than read a label with a dictionary in my other hand. And if I'm hearing you correctly, those small acts of daily self-care add up to big metabolic improvements over time.
They really do. Speaking of small acts, let's remind people that slow, consistent change is the name of the game. Quick fixes might yield a fast drop on the scale, but it's rarely fat that's being lost. It's often water or muscle.
And muscle is that calorie-burning goldmine, so losing it only sabotages future weight maintenance. Makes sense to do some strength training, keep those muscles, and make sure we're harnessing the benefits of a robust BMR.
Yes, your body will thank you in the long run. Another point from the article is the role of the thermic effect of food. Digestion itself burns some calories. That can work in your favor if you're eating nutrient-dense foods. Plus, better digestion can improve gut health, which then ties into hormone balance, mood, and everything else.
It's the ripple effect. One good habit leads to another. And ironically, once you start feeling better physically, it gets easier to maintain healthy eating and exercise patterns because you're not constantly battling fatigue or cravings.
That's so true. A huge problem for many dieters is they're tired, hungry, and cranky, which is not exactly a recipe for success. But if you gradually build up your metabolism first, you're more satiated, calmer, and better able to stick with a plan.
So, the moral of the story. Quick fix diets, or de force, not so quick when you factor in the rebound weight gain. Investing time in a maintenance phase and boosting metabolic health first, that's a more pleasant and effective path to lasting fat loss. Did I get that right?
Yes, that's it in a nutshell. Or in a fresh green salad that also has protein, carbs, and healthy fats. We're balanced over here. And if listeners want a deep dive, Dr. Mercola has recommended that Rooted in Resilience course by Ashley and Sarah, built on Dr. Ray Peat's bioenergetic medicine concepts.
No disclaimers from us, folks, just the knowledge that working with your body is much smarter than trying to bulldoze it. And that's what Dr. Mercola seems to endorse. He's using it for training health coaches, which is a serious vote of confidence.
Absolutely. He's convinced that a system focused on restoring cellular energy is the key to reversing many health issues. And for anyone feeling stuck or frustrated, this approach offers real hope. It's not about punishing your body, it's about nourishing it so it can do its job effectively.
Right? Because your body actually wants to be healthy. It's just sometimes we tie its hands with fad diets or punishing exercise regimens that backfire. Maybe our bodies are more like party guests who just need a decent snack and a friendly atmosphere to dance.
That's quite the visual. But yes, I'm on board. Give the metabolism a good environment, and it will show you the best moves. Also, let's not forget that a higher maintenance calorie level makes life more enjoyable. Nobody wants to live on celery sticks forever.
No argument here. At least let me have some peanut butter with that celery. Ilara, anything else you want to highlight before we wrap up this marathon of metabolic wisdom?
I'd just stress that, like anything in life, this takes a bit of patience and trust in the process. When you see the scale inching up by half a pound at first, that can be scary. But if you're methodical, track your weight trends, and keep your increases slow, you'll probably stabilize and end up with a stronger metabolic capacity. That's the real jackpot.
Patience is a virtue, they say. I guess the metabolic approach is where that saying really pays off. Let's do a final lightning round, summarizing each step in a one-liner. Ready?
Sure, fire away.
Step 1. Ditch the quick fixes and fad diets. Those are illusions that lead to heartbreak.
Perfect. Step 2, track your food and weight to get a baseline. No more guesswork or memory illusions.
Step 3. Cook your own meals. Be the boss of your ingredients and fuel that engine with premium gasoline.
Step 4, strength train plus daily movement. Muscles are metabolic gold, and NEAT helps keep that furnace burning.
Step 5. Reverse diet slowly. Sneak those extra calories in, teach your body to handle more, and watch your maintenance level rise.
Nicely done. With that approach, you'll rebuild your metabolism, avoid the yo-yo cycle, and preserve your sanity. Then, when you finally decide it's time to drop some body fat, you'll do it without feeling like you're living in a calorie prison.
Well said. It's refreshing to hear about a plan that doesn't promise a magical transformation by next Wednesday. Instead, it's about real, long-term success. That sounds like actual cellular wisdom to me.
Absolutely. And we should also mention the intangible bonus, not living in constant fear of food. That's a gift in itself.
A life without stress around mealtime? Sign me up. So, I guess if folks want to learn more, they can look into Dr. Mercola's recommended course or explore the concept of bioenergetic medicine. Meanwhile, they can start small, cook one more meal at home, take a few extra steps, track a little data, and see what happens.
Yes, even one small habit improvement can create momentum. Just don't expect your metabolism to do cartwheels after a day. Give it some time, and it'll show its appreciation by working more efficiently.
Patience, consistency, and a dash of humor along the way. That's our recipe here at Cellular Wisdom.
And speaking of humor, we hope we kept you smiling, or at least smirking, through this discussion on metabolic health.